Hello, this is a fellow assembler, Cory Endrulat, from the Pennsylvania American Common Law Assembly. I figured to share some helpful info that could help in our present and future efforts, helping us move in the right direction, including some propositions and ideas. Everyone deserves to be free, and we will face many challenges along the way. The dialogue is important for such as how we improve. You may share any of the following as you see necessary. I created this for all assemblies and anybody who wants to get together with others, keeping in mind what should be done among those assemblies and holding them accountable. May you see these strategies helpful. May you share it with anybody at any given time. It is in my view that the article titled, quote, "For All Coordinators, the American Way" by Anna von Reitz, which is Article 3245, should be known by all members and coordinators alike, as it makes the intentions and expectations clear and so without confusion. It also goes over the involved principles and choices within the assembly. Quote, "It is becoming apparent that the influx of new people isn't being handled well enough in terms of sorting and shunting. We've been trying to save everyone, but some people just don't want to take up the burdens of self-governance. They want a corporate structure and a top-down government that tells them what to do and how to do it, which nursemaids them 24/7. They want a king or a manager or a director or a coordinator sitting up on top dictating and taking responsibility for their every move. And that just isn't the American way. We need to get serious about talking to new recruits and giving them the three choices up front so that they know what their options are and can sort out for themselves where they need to be." Another quote from this article states, "There is no chief executive officer, no strict compartmentalization, no rising through the ranks. We do things in terms of functions and everyone works together." Another quote suggests that newcomers take the time to sit down and read the Declaration of Independence so that they have a renewed vision of what their government is about and the evils it is intended to prevent. End quote. This can be one idea to encourage the Declaration as part of our education to new members, as it reminds people why individuals have declared their independence, and why people would alter or abolish the current state. In reflection, people's freedom is not dependent upon the whim of another being. Otherwise, it would be like the man-made law systems we have today, and that is not equality. It strays away from the need of education, which is our first principle of the 6 principal goals mentioned in that article. Quote, "We can and we must deal with this educational process as transparently and honestly as possible." End quote. This can be a second and very important idea for when individual people are in positions of this assembly to handle many different tasks. It is to have a change log of every change they do in the process concerning new members to assembly affairs, so that way everyone is aware of what changes are made and when. You wouldn't want new questions to appear blocking new members from entering the assembly without the rest of the assembly aware of it, for example. It also helps avoid confusion and many questions about recent developments. If someone fails to mention something on the change log, such would be a measure of trust or reliance. Many companies and video games use a change log for the purpose of transparency, and all that has to be done is a note of what change has been made with a date. This could simply be a document in a drive that everyone has access to in the assembly in reading. The following is from, quote, "Dealing with the Influx, a Message to All State Coordinators" by Anna von Reitz, Article 3699. Quote, "Many assemblies have been functioning for over 3 years now, and many have developed their own small leadership cadre that is comfortable working with each other. There is a tendency for such leadership cadres to lock up and try to keep newcomers out. That is a terrible mistake. Our assemblies are not clubs, they are public governmental bodies. They can't be based on keeping people out, they have to be based on including as many people as possible. So if you are practicing any kind of Blackballing or inappropriate vetting to make sure that only people you approve of and only people that you get along with and agree with are included, you are doing this dead wrong." End quote. "And shall there be a dispute upon this matter or any matter within any assembly, quote, there is a fine line to be observed between disruption and disagreement, between mere opinion and fact. It's the job of the assembly leadership to discern that line and walk it. Disruption is what we think of when someone comes to a meeting drunk and angry and starts bawling about whatever their pet peeve or problem is. It's not when someone raises their hand and disagrees with prevailing sentiment. We owe it to ourselves to engage in discussion and debate and to embrace our own tradition, which protects the rights of free speech, because we understand that when we muzzle others and censor them, we also open up the possibility that the same thing will be done to us." End quote. The following is from Article 3570. If we see change that must be done, it isn't up to any one individual or Anna von writes. Quote, "Let me repeat. The Federation works with whoever and whatever each state sends us in terms of coordinators. If you have a do-nothing incompetent serving as coordinator, it's up to you to find additional people to stand up as coordinators and get the job done. Find someone competent to volunteer. Contact us to have them vetted and trained and carry on. Any dead weight will man up or move on, and in either case you can solve your own problem. It's your state, your future, your assembly. It's all up to each one of you." Another quote, "Confront the offender. Don't come running to me. I am not standing there in your state. You are. And you are all presumed to be responsible adults until proven otherwise. This is your assembly. You have to learn how to operate it, set standards for it, set goals, organize people and materials, make plans, and solve problems." End quote. Let this be a testimonial to the fact coordinators should listen to members, and members can step up and be the coordinators. Coordinators are the mere facilitators, guides, and teachers in the process of reclaiming our freedom. Remember, we are the change, we the people. We are all free and equal in rights by natural law. And often, we may not define what rights are when we use that term. So, I recommend that you learn about natural law, as it also states in the Declaration of Independence. In depth, all you need to know to define and practice everything related to freedom. Watch Mark Passio's Natural Law seminar. And it is highly suggested that you read The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose and The End of All Evil by Jeremy Locke. You may also pick up my own book, Slavery Gone for Good by Cory and Endrulat, or even look at Larkin Rose's videos or other Mark Passio presentations and many other content creators on the OneGreatWorkNetwork.com. My third idea suggestion to the assemblies would be a shared events calendar alongside active inquiry within the assembly for events where the assembly can educate more and more people to get as many people involved as possible, as quoted before, in supporting the first principle. For example, this would include festivals or places where we can get booths or hand out materials. Get-togethers are also surely important, having fun in the process of attaining freedom. Upon further assembly critique, I have done a 1-hour video critique of Anna von Reitz on issues that I find important to mention regarding natural law. This would be a good video to watch, alongside its review paper in the description, after the other resources mentioned. And upon further notice, let it be known that context matters above the usage of words. While words may be helpful for the cause of American common law language, let it be known that it is only a means toward an end. I look forward to a day where peoples aren't coerced merely due to language, where paperwork isn't necessary merely due to needing freedom, where any assembly isn't even necessary if people do not wish to assemble. Freedom means freedom. That is the end goal. Therefore, let reality be known. Let us not fall into other illusions. As for the constant regard to the constitutions of America, let us be aware of Lysander Spooner. a lawyer and abolitionist from the 19th century, who wrote extensively what the Constitution is and what it says. We are not taught about him on purpose in schools, for what he says is also not covered within the assemblies. Please read his writings, in particular, No Treason, the Constitution of No Authority. Another good resource would be to look up Larkin Rose, and in particular, his video titled U.S. Constitution, Pro-Freedom? As for Assembly appeal to new members, continue on the efforts, but do encourage the local events, activism, and learning how to use technology for education. Truth waits for nobody. Remember, if the Assembly is everyone, and people have been affected everywhere, the target audience is everyone and everywhere. Do educate the whole world, and do not keep projects limited in circulation. Beware of echo chambers or bandwagon. For the greatest notice I have to offer to the Assembly, be sure that everything done is voluntary. There should be no coercion against people's wills if true freedom is the objective. Thank you for your time, and energy. Thanks everyone, hope you may find this helpful. May you check out all my other video content and the many other creators out there. I'm not the only one, but we need to get very clear and grounded as to what we're doing and make very important the education first and foremost among the transparency. And education is accountability, so we can promote more of that transparency and create the world that we want to create by being the change ourselves, freeing ourselves, just as the slaves would in the 1800s, recognizing we are free, otherwise we'll never be free. Thank you very much for watching. I thank everyone who has contributed to any assembly and all their time and effort. Take care. I'm also hosting a huge event with over 40 plus speakers called the End of Slavery Summit. I recommend checking it out at nita.one/summit. That's nita.one/summit.